Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I am Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter today for the next 20 minutes. Today we're going to be looking at the Browse donation screen within Church Windows. This is a super helpful screen for any type of corrections or reversals that you're going to need to do in the donations module. It's also really helpful for just browsing through and seeing some of the giving that you've received from certain givers in your church. So we are going to cover that. So searching through that screen, making those corrections, and then doing reversals. The topic today is from one of our workbooks. It's the Donations 104 workbook, specifically pages 16 through 20. So we are recording this webinar. It'll be cleaned up and put out on our website at churchwindows.com by the end of the week. But if you want something, a hard copy, if you want some notes, something written down, feel free to head out to our website and purchase that Donations 104 workbook. You can purchase it in a PDF form. You can print it off, and I believe that's $12, or you can actually order it and we'll mail it to you in a binder-ready format, and that's $22. So feel free to do that if you wish, but keep in mind this will be available on our website by the end of the week. Okay, Kellyanne's in here with me. She's going to be helping by answering some questions. So if you come across any questions that are specific to this topic, feel free to type those questions in. If you have a off-topic question or something really specific to your data, please call us at support. It's going to be best handled that way. There's 71 people registered for today, and there's just 2 of us. So please be patient with us as we try to get to your questions. And if for some reason we don't, please call or shoot us an email to support@churchwindows.com, and we'll get you figured out that way. All right, so let's get started here. Today's presentation, we're going to be in version 20.17.2. You can see that over here in the top right-hand corner. This is our most current version of Church Windows. If you don't see the .2, you can head out to the website and download this service release 2, or you can always call us in support and we can help get you updated that way. So let's open up donations. Now, there are 2 different places you can go to get into the Browse donation screen, okay? So right here on your dashboard in the middle of the screen, you have a Browse Donations button here. That is going to open up and take you right into that Browse donation screen. Or you can get to it up at the top under Donations up at the top left, hitting the Browse button there. It's going to take you to exactly the same spot. It's really up to you on which way you want to get there. I usually like to do the button right in the middle, but it really doesn't matter. So as you can see with the Browse donation screen open, it's organized by our givers. Okay, so right now it's going to be sorted in giver order, so it's going to sort by number first and then name. If you don't use numbers, it'll be sorted alphabetically. But if you scroll through, you see it's listing all of our givers with the total amount that they have given within the date range. So let me grab my highlighter and show you exactly what I mean. Right here up at the top, it's going to tell you the date range that you're looking at here in Browse. So you're only going to see giving that falls within the 1st of 2018 through the last day of 2018. Okay. Now, if you ever want to jump back and see giving from different years, you can definitely do that by using this blue button up here that says Change Dates, Filter, and Sort. This button allows you to actually come in here and set the parameters a little differently. Say you want to look at giving for just one specific giver. You could search for them here. Say you're interested in one specific giving account. You can do that. Say you're trying to find a donation and you only know the check number. You could type that check or reference number in right here. Also on the right, here's your date occurred fields. Say you only want to see the giving that was entered for January. You could adjust your years or your months here. You can always go back to prior years. You could go back to 5 years ago if you wanted. That's all done right here. A lot of people ask questions at the beginning of the year. How do I go back and look at my gifts from December? Simple. Hit that change dates, filter, and sort button right here. Adjust your date occurred back a year. You can also look for a date posted. Date posted is the date you were actually sitting at the machine and posted something. So if you know you posted a donation on last Monday, you know you were sitting at the computer doing that, you could then put that Monday date in there and it would find it for you. Okay. So let's leave the year as it is for 2018. Now I want to show you, each person is going to have a little plus sign next to their name. If you hit that plus sign, you will then see a listing of all of the transactions that are to that person's name for the date range we have the filter set to. So along with their grand total that you see, you're going to see some detailed information. Let's look up here at Jeffrey, for example. We see Jeffrey's donation came in to building fund. Here's the donation date he gave it, the amount. The check was the payment method, check number, comments, line item, comments, and so forth. You can also see the date posted, so that's the date you were sitting at the machine. And also, if you have usernames set up for your church windows, we do not currently, because this is our sample data for presentations, but your username or whomever created this transaction will be listed here. Okay, so as long as you use username when you open up your church windows, you'll be able to see who did what in this browse screen. Okay. Now, you can also come up here to the top left and search for someone. Say we are specifically looking for Jeffrey Alexander's giving. We can start typing in his name. The program will find it, and I can just hit enter or use my mouse to click on him, and it's going to then show me all of the gifts that he's made so far. Okay, so that's a quick way to find someone. Now keep in mind too, if this inactive box is checked, it's going to show you people that have been made inactive, or if you're in older versions, reason for termination, it's going to include those people. So if we scroll through the list, we are going to see some people in red. That tells us if they are red, they are inactive. Okay, so you can definitely still see giving for inactive people, which maybe somebody passed away and in the middle of the year and they have some giving already. It would be beneficial to be able to see what their giving was. Okay, now if we uncheck this inactive box here, when we do the search then, we're not going to see any inactive people, so no red people will be listed. Okay. So let's shrink these up and let's focus in on Jeffrey. So in the book that I'm following, the Donations 104 workbook, on page 17 down at the bottom, it talks about correcting a donation. So there's a lot of different instances where you would need to go in and make a correction. One could be a simple correction. Say you just needed to go in and you forgot to add some comments on this donation. You can easily do that by highlighting the transaction. Okay, keep in mind, if you need to make a correction, you need to tell the program first what you are trying to fix. So you can't have, say, Jeffrey Alexander as a whole highlighted. If you look up here at the top, you can see that the correct donation button is actually grayed out. You have to tell it what transaction you need to fix first. So if we come down here at the bottom, I'm going to highlight transaction 2125. This is the one that I need to fix. Once it's highlighted, you can then look up at the top and see that the correct button is now available for you to go in and make changes. So like I said, a correction could be something as simple as adding comments that you forgot to add. It could also be changing the giving account. Say it was entered to building fund, but it really should be going to missions. You can change the date. You can also change the amount, the batch code, the payment method. All of that can be done here and correct. Now, say for example, you need to take something completely out. Say it was just entered, it's totally wrong, it needs to be removed. That's where you would then use the reverse button. Okay? So I'm going to show you an example of both. So let's look here at this gift from Jeffrey, this $200 donation. We need to make a change on this. Let's say he wanted $100 to go to building and he wanted $100 to go to missions. So we actually need to split this gift out. Okay, so to do that, we're going to click to highlight the transaction that needs fixed, and then we're going to come up to the top here and we're going to hit the correct button. It's then going to open up another screen for us, okay? It's going to open up a screen where we can go in and make all of those changes that I discussed earlier. So if you needed to change the donation date, you could do that right here. Say you even had the giver wrong. A lot of times I've talked to people where they meant to choose giver 16, but they accidentally picked giver 6. You can easily change it by coming in here, hitting the down arrow, and picking the person that you actually needed. Okay. The amount. The total donation was for $500. He does have several line items listed down here, but say the total amount's wrong. You could click in this box, backspace it out, and correct it to what you need. Payment method you can change, check a reference number. Say you want to add comments, you can type those right in here. Also, down at the bottom you have your line items. So his $500 is actually currently broken out to 3 different giving accounts. Okay, now let's say this 200 needs split. We want 100 to go to missions. If that's the case, you click on it, you adjust the amount to $100, and then you can come over here to the right, hit this little plus sign, and this is going to make you a new line item. Then you choose the account you need. We're going to pick 102 missions, and it's going to put in the remaining balance here in my amount box of $100. Okay. Now at this point, you kind of have to make a decision. If you're using the accounting module, you might need to come down here and do save and transfer. If you're not using the accounting module, you can just go with save. Now keep in mind, some things are going to need sent over to accounting and some things aren't. If you're changing the giver, accounting doesn't care who the giver is. So that's not something you're going to need to save and transfer. Now in this instance, I'm changing my giving account. So it very could well be that I need a different income account affected over in the accounting module. It could be a different asset as well. So you need to keep in mind as you make corrections on this donation side, you need to be aware of what needs to go over to accounting and what doesn't. If you're not sure, say you just work in the donation side, you can definitely go with save donation, and then you can let whomever know or who works in the accounting side, I made a correction. I'm not sure if the income or the asset account is going to need adjusted over in accounting, and they can go into the transfer accounting screen and see if it's something that needs to be sent over. Okay. And then once you have everything fixed, you just hit save donation. And the program's going to tell you your corrections are required that transaction 2125 be reversed, which was the original, and new transaction number 224. Okay, so it's reversing out that old transaction and it's making a new one for you. So your audit trail is very clear of what's happened. I'm going to say okay, and that's going to close out, and I can come back here and look at Jeffrey Alexander and see that now I have everything split out. Okay. Now another great thing in Browse Donations, I was talking about that audit trail. You can come in and you can see what's been reversed, okay, or what's been changed. So bottom left, I'm going to come down here and check this Include Reverse Transactions button, and it's going to show me what's been changed. So here is my original transaction, 2125, these first 3. 2203 is my reversing transaction. And then here's my new one, 2204, okay? So it's very clear what happened and why. Also here on the right, you can see date posted. This is the day that I was sitting right here at my machine and I made this correction. And also, whomever made it, the user will be listed here as long as you use logins. All right, so that's how you correct a donation. Now let's say we have something that we need to actually reverse out. Let's find a good one here. Let's say we need to get rid of this $200 donation from Jack. It was entered incorrectly, it's totally wrong, there's nothing to fix, it just needs to be removed. If that's the case, you're going to click to highlight the transaction. Then you're going to come up here to the top and you're going to hit reverse and NSF. Okay, now NSF stands for non-sufficient funds. So if you have a check that bounces, okay, the bank notifies you it didn't go through, you'll need to come in here, highlight that transaction as we've done here with handbells, and then you're going to come up to the top and hit that reverse and NSF button. Now there is a little checkbox down here at the bottom. You don't have to check this box, but it is an option for you to if the reversal is due to an NSF. By checking this box on that individual's donation statement, it is actually going to show the $200 in our example going in and then a negative $200 coming out because this reversed due to non-sufficient funds box was checked. Some people I talk to don't like that negative amount to show when their check bounced. If that's the case, that's fine. Just don't check the box. The program is still going to reverse it. So on that specific person's donation statement, there just won't be any history of that transaction coming in at all. It just won't be there. Okay. All right, so for this example, as soon as I hit that reverse screen, it pops up with two tabs. I have a recommended tabs and an advanced options tab. Recommended tab is here for a reason. This is the best practice when you need to reverse a transaction, that you actually reverse it for the original date of the transaction, okay? So in our example, that's January 28th. Now, there are some advanced options, okay? So if you feel the need that you need to reverse the check for today's date, or you want to reverse it for an other date. Example, the date the bank notified you the check bounced. You have the ability to go in and do that on your own. Most of the time, it is best to go with the date occurred from the original transaction. Okay? You also have a place down here to put comments. You want to type in why you're reversing the transactions. Comments are always a good thing. It allows you, when you're looking back at, why did I go in and reverse this $200 transaction on Jack? You can put right in here why it was reversed, okay? Whatever you want it to say, I'm just going to put posted in there. And then at this point, you can hit OK, and that will reverse it and save it, or you can do an OK and transfer. OK and transfer will post this, and then it's going to open up that transfer to accounting screen where you can then send it on over to accounting if this does in fact need to come out. If you don't use accounting, just hit OK. Permanently reverse donation 2147, we're going to say yes. And it tells us it's been reversed by donation 2205. We're going to say OK. All right, so now if we look at Jack, we still have our checkbox down here at the bottom left to include reverse transactions checked. And now we can see here's the original of when it went in, and here's the reversal of taking it out. All right, guys, that covers everything from the Donations 104 workbook of pages 16 through 20. If you have any questions, feel free to type those in. All right, let me see what we have. It looks like we have a couple that Kellyanne answered for us. But if you have any questions about working in the Browse donation screen, how to make a correction, how to do a reversal, please type those in and we will do our best to get you answered here. Elaine's asking, if someone different does the transfers to accounting, will there be a notice saying there are? There won't be a notice, Elaine. They're actually going to have to come in here and look at the transfer to accounting screen. Oops, let me close this real quick. When they open up that transfer to accounting screen, any corrections or things that have been changed in the donation side will be sitting here. So the person that does the transfers or works in the accounting module can then decide if this needs to go over or not. Okay, so 128, here was our $200 handbells gift that we reversed. There's now a negative $200 waiting here to go to accounting. So whoever does accounting will need to decide, does this $200 need to be posted even though it's back from January, or has some other correction, an adjust asset maybe of some sort, already been done over in accounting to take care of this, because this is from 5 months ago, okay? Now down here at the bottom, this 211, it has a $0 amount. But this was the correction that we did where we didn't change the dollar amount, we simply adjusted the giving account. So now we actually have money that needs to be moved over in accounting because we have a different income account that's being affected. Now we have our 430-100 income account to missions that needs to be increased. Okay, so keep in mind, whomever works in accounting or does the transfers, they'll need to come back in here and see if anything's waiting that needs to go over. Oh, here's a couple more questions coming in. Give me 1 second while I find one to read aloud here. Someone's asking, I found that there are multiple entries of the same people. How do I clean them up without messing up numbers? Rex, that has to do with handling duplicate givers. We do have a webinar and documentation on our website that'll help you with cleaning up duplicates. I actually just did a webinar on that. Oh, it was either last week or the week before. So check out on the website, look up duplicates in the search, and you should find information on that. But of course, if you need extra help, call us, and we can get you squared away that way. All right, looks like Kellyanne's doing a great job getting these questions answered. If you guys are done, you feel like you've gotten the information that you wanted, feel free to sign out. That's totally fine. But I'm going to hang here another minute or two, see if anybody else is typing anything before I close the webinar down. All right, if you're typing, hit send for me so I don't boot or close the session out before you're done, because I'm just not seeing anything else pop in here. All right. Thanks everyone for attending. I really hope you learned something new today that you can use on a daily basis or help make your job a little bit easier. But if we close up the webinar and you find you still have a question, just call us or email us to support@churchwindows.com and we'll get you an answer that way. Like I said, this is going to be recorded. One of the techs here will clean it up a little bit, put it out on the website, and it should be out by end of week. I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Thanks.